Hi, and welcome back to the Senior Network. Dr. Brulard, we were talking about fear, and I keep thinking about that. Give me some more ideas of what you experience when it comes to this.
I think that having a diagnosis of cancer or end-stage heart disease or any end-stage disease, which is what we deal with, one of the issues is that the patient may be afraid that they're going to have to go through this by themselves.
Right.
And that's abandonment fear. And that's really a horrible thing. It's like being in a cave by yourself. You can't find your way out. You don't see the light anywhere. Mm-hmm. And when we come in, we assure the patient they will not be abandoned, no matter what happens. Now, normally, our nurses see the patient once a week. Okay. That's our standard.
Right.
But if there's a crisis, even if it's not just you're ready to die, but a pain crisis, for example, our nurses will go in 24/7, doesn't matter the day of the week, and sit with that patient until the crisis is resolved. An example I like to use is one day I was just going into church, 10 o'clock in the morning, and my phone goes off. We've got a new patient who's in a pain crisis. This is Sunday morning at 10 o'clock.
Right.
So I got to my car, wrote a prescription, faxed it to a pharmacy that opened up for us.
Wow.
Nurse went to the pharmacy, picked up the drug, and within an hour, that patient had her medicine. I don't know of another medical setting where that can happen.
I don't either.
Unless you go to the emergency room.
Absolutely.
So that's the kind of reassurance that we provide. You call, we haul.
Yeah.
We're there.
And you folks are nonprofit, correct?
We are nonprofit. We provide whatever the patient needs, no matter whether the patient is on Medicare or lives out in the woods someplace. We're there. All our patients get the same care. Now, the only reason we can do this is the community supports us.
Right.
Through donations and various other volunteer things.
We have a large volunteer base, don't you?
I think we have 140 volunteers now.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
We have 60 service dogs.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yes.
So 60.
They may not all be actually certified service dogs, but they're dogs that will go in and see our patients.
Well, so our viewers know. Tell us, what would a volunteer help do?
Well, I would say 2/3 of our patient request a volunteer. That's a person of maybe a similar age and life experience that will go to their home and give the spouse a break. They'll say to the spouse, I want you to go to the movies today. You haven't been out, or I'll walk the dog. I don't know if they clean out never mind. But whatever the patient, or just sit with the patient, read a book.
Yep.
Just give them an opportunity to do something.
Yes.
To get out and do something, whatever it is.
And then we have volunteers that work here in our office to answer the phone and do things like that. So it's really an incredible, you have a volunteer training program, a formal, I'm not sure how many hours, but they get formalized training in what they do and what the diseases they might run into, and they call the nurse, or they call the social worker, or they call the chaplain if they recognize an issue that needs attention.
Yeah. And I think, Neil, you probably could explain it better than me. I think when we get involved is typically after the volunteer in the early stages has done a lot, and then the needs get maybe more skilled.
Yes.
Yeah, and you need a company like ours, right?
That's correct. It really takes a community, and I know that's a cliche that a lot of people hear. You hear that a lot when you're talking about raising kids, or but it's also the same when you're working with people at the end of life, or when they have chronic illnesses. It takes a team effort in this process, and what I love about hospice companies, and especially Hospice Care to Lowcountry, is it is a team approach. We get in with families a lot of times that are so overwhelmed and frustrated, angry, all these phases that they're going through, and a lot of times you're right. It has gotten past the part of just I need a couple hours to go out and maybe go to a movie or go for a walk. It's more about again, I go back to this overnight, because we see this so much where the spouse is not sleeping, and in that sleep deprivation, everyone knows how bad that is for your body. And it takes these emotions that you have, the anger, the depression, and it just emphasizes all of those. It actually makes it worse. So if nothing else, what we like to do for these families is to give these people a peace of mind that their loved one is going to be taken care of while they're sleeping. It's hard to go to sleep when you think your loved one could pass away at any minute. I mean, and they get to that point where they worry about that. We all would. So could it happen? Of course it could. But we're going to be there to communicate with them if we see any changes of condition, anything like that. And that's what we try to do for the hospice folks, so that we can alert them if there are changes, and alert the person who might be sleeping, but at least they know they can go get that done, and we're there overlooking that loved one, giving them peace of mind. And during the daytime, to do some of the physical care needs that they might have.
And that may range from what a caregiver through a certified nursing aide through a registered nurse could be in there.
That is correct. That is correct. We because we are the private agency that is plugging into this situation, we can do just about anything without having a conflict of interest with any of the hospice services. We are there to support those hospice services in any way we can. Like you said, from somebody who's coming in to sit with the client, to physically giving them a bath, to a nurse coming in and doing something. That's correct. Exactly. Absolutely.
Well, guys, again, that's all the time we have. Great having you on the show. Thank you, Neil.
Glad to be here.
Thank you, Dr. Brulard.
Thank you.
Nice to see you again.
Good to see you.
Thank you all for joining us here on the Senior Network, where senior care experts come together. We'll see you the next time.